Hi, everybody. This is your host, Jon Toker from Biz Insider. I have another special guest here with me today, Megan Brazil. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Trying to feel better.
Yeah.
As you know, we're supposed to have this podcast on Wednesday, and I had to reschedule it for Friday. And I really appreciate that you make up that time for me and being very helpful to reschedule this. As I said, I had stomach flu.
Oh my
I was really sick. And yeah. So, anyways, let's talk about some good stuff. So, Megan, why don't you introduce yourself and all that good stuff about you and your success? You've been very successful. And I'll ask you a couple more questions, then we roll on with it. So, you have the stage, Megan.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and it's absolutely no problem to reschedule. I think we're all kind of used to that these days with COVID and whatnot, but the stomach flu not good. So I'm glad you're feeling better. It's not fun, but yeah, I'm happy to reschedule, and honestly, so excited that you wanted me to be a part of this. So thank you. Um, yeah, intro. I have been in the car business for just over 6 years now. Been selling cars at Great Lakes Honda all that time. It was my first job in the automotive industry at all. I knew nothing about the automotive industry before that. Recently promoted to assistant sales manager, but my focus is still selling cars. So it's just basically the same, a lot of the same stuff I've been doing. Um, but a couple extra tasks here and there. But for the most part, I'm still here for my customers. That's kind of my main goal is to sell cars. It's my it's what I'm good at. So
That's amazing, Megan. I mean, your store is a very nice store actually, and I had an honor to be there multiple times. And believe it or not, I'll tell you a story, and it's so funny. One day I was coming to your store. I booked a plane and everything,
yeah,
and it was scheduled meeting 2 months prior. So we were gonna go over the certified pre-owned program, HCOV program. Some extra training and refreshers and stuff, right?
yeah.
And Benjamin waiting for me to come and all that good stuff. And I actually got really sick that day.
Oh my God,
I couldn't make it in, so I
did
had
we
to
curse you?
reschedule it.
Like what is that?
Yeah, I ended up in the ER actually that emergency that
Oh my
day, and I had to cancel the plane and everything. And and it was interesting, and everybody got worried, like, "You okay? You fine?" Like, it wasn't good, and yeah, it's funny. And now I'm
That's terrible.
trying to have the podcast with you, and I got sick. So,
I think I don't know what we do to you here in Sault Ste. Marie, but I am sorry.
I don't know. You guys treat me so nice when I come there, so I don't know.
Well, that's good at least.
So, yeah, I've been to your store multiple times, and
Yeah,
I talked to Benjamin, Francine, the like amazing team there. And do you remember we were there one day? Like I think our first time, I came up there with Jeannie, and we're in the business office, and you sold 4 cars or 3 cars. That you sold multiple cars that day. Like you were
I,
so busy, and we were taking the time of the business manager, and you literally came into the office and kick us out. Like you gave us like, how long is it gonna take, guys? Because I got a turnover coming in. I'm like, okay, we'll go out. It was funny. I don't know if you
um,
remember that, but
but business does come first.
of
it's
course.
a it's a thing. No, I feels like I always tend to be busy whenever we've got somebody here that's like important and they're trying to train us and all this stuff. All of a sudden I've got all these customers and I'm like, well, you guys aren't getting anything done today because I got to sell some cars and these people need to buy them and I need my business manager, I need my manager, and so apologies.
No, it was really good though. I was like impressed. I'm like, wow, Benjamin, like she's doing really good. I was like, oh yeah, I'm training her. Like she's working really hard, and she never sold cars before. This is first car sales job. Like she's doing phenomenal and like hardworking, really happy. And I'm like, that's good though, because that's what a salesperson should really do. Look after the customers because yes, we come from the manufacturer to provide a training, but at the end of the day, customer comes first. So you did the right thing kicking us out of the office.
Get out, get out, I
Get
need them.
out. We gotta sell cars.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so let's jump into the questions that I have for you. Uh, I see that you've been extremely active on social media, like especially Instagram. You use the most.
Yeah, Instagram and Facebook are my two main ones. So yeah.
So how long? So for someone, the reason I'm asking this question is we got a lot of fresh people going into the business, want to
Hmm.
be salespeople, and they obviously want to utilize social media, but they expect like immediate results. So post couple pictures, I expect to sell 15 cars. Like, so what kind of time frame would you give it to some brand new people? How long is did it take you to build your social media presence as Meg, your Honda girl Meg, right? Like the name you use it. What's the name you use it acronym?
It's Your Honda Meg.
Your Honda Meg. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
that's okay. That's okay.
it's your Honda Meg. So how long it took you to build that brand basically online?
So it's tough to kind of measure it because I really, when I first started in the car business, I did post things here and there. So I kind of used my own Instagram account. I did use my own Snapchat account and my own Facebook to kind of promote myself and, if we had a new car. But I did it inconsistently, for lack of a better term. But yeah, it's here and there whenever I kind of had a minute. So it's always been something that I've done. I really dove in when COVID hit. So when COVID hit, we all got laid off, business shut down, the whole thing. I was laid off for 6 weeks, which gave me a lot of downtime to research and think and plan and drive myself crazy that I wasn't at work because I like to be busy, as I'm sure a lot of people in the car business do. So I listened to a lot of podcasts and just kind of thought a lot about what's going on. And it was really apparent that social media is going to be the next big thing. So June of 2020, I kind of launched into it more full time than I had been. So what I'm finding is that at first, it really wasn't very, you couldn't measure it with like a direct sale. You couldn't measure, a Facebook post that would get you a direct sale. And even to this day, you still kind of can't, because somebody might have seen a post from you 2 years ago, but now they're in the market and now they thought of you because you put a post up. So it is difficult to measure, but these days, probably within the last 6 months, I do find I get directly 2 or 3 leads per month that come in from Instagram or Facebook directly. I also get people walk in and ask for me because they've seen my posts on Instagram or Facebook. So probably I think 3 to 4 sales a month over the last few months have kind of been directly attributed to Facebook or Instagram, which is huge. That's an extra 3, 4 deals a month, especially when you're looking at, okay, we've got nothing in the parking lot. We're literally selling incoming units 3 months down the road, and these people are coming in and trusting me with their business on a vehicle that they can't look at or drive or whatever, right? So it's pretty cool. So to answer your question, probably the better part of a year to a year and a half to really start seeing direct sales from it. But it works. It really works.
Well, like no, you said very smart there that like you can't really measure social media in terms of like how much it turns into a sale that easily, right? Because you're right, they may come back and buy a car from you 2 years later. So you may put that post 2 years prior and then it turn into a sale now. And then how are you going to measure that, right? You're not going to be able to remember that you even put that post there. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's very smart way of approaching it. And in terms of money that you spend, how much does it cost you to do this social media thing?
It is essentially free. I don't spend really any money on it. Well, I didn't. Now I'm starting to. I'll boost a post once a month. So
Yeah.
once a month, I'll spend $20, or 20 or 25, somewhere in there, to boost one of my more prominent posts, video or something. But before that, it's only been the last 6 months or so where I've started boosting posts, and boosting it means that you just spend money, and Facebook or Instagram will send it out to people in your area or your target audience. You can kind of pick and choose. And it definitely helps get more views on your profile, and it helps, get your name out there more. But for the most part, it's you could do it for free. It doesn't cost anything.
Nice. No, these are really good information for especially people who are just trying or interested in becoming a salesperson in a car dealership, and because you can utilize that tool. Or there's some people out there too that I see, like they're trying to become influencers, but they're not influencers yet, but they still have 10, 20, 30,000 followers, right? Like significant
Yep.
amount of people, but they're not there yet to have that 100 to 250,000 followers to get sponsorships. That kind of people could be an interesting, actually, they should be looking into getting in a sales position too, because 10, 20,000 followers is a pretty strong base too. That could help them in the business as well. But yeah, that's really good. Like I talked to other Honda stores and they know you too by your name, and like they
Oh,
said
that's
that
cool.
that girl up north doing a good job with those social media stuff. Well, let's switch to the some other questions. So you said COVID and first kicked in, and you said there was layoffs happen, and you said the way the business been done differently. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, what do you find different? Because you've been doing this what now, 7 years, 6 years?
6.5, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I mean,
What has
even
changed?
before. What's that, sorry?
What has changed since the COVID? What do you think, in your perspective, that the way has been done, the business, car business, because you've been doing for 6.5 years. So since February 2020, how the business has evolved, do
Yeah.
you think, last 2 years?
It's evolved quickly, and a lot has changed. It's kind of crazy. I mean, we've you know you've talked about this before, I think, where, like, hiring people in the middle of this who don't know what it was like before. It's kind of crazy. I mean, going on demo drives and showing people the car, and we used to take people on a test drive and show them the features and show them how everything worked, and show them how the Honda sensing worked, the adaptive cruise control, lane assist, like how all those features worked. And then let them test drive it themselves, of course. But we haven't done that because of COVID. We also, between people coming in appointment based only, I do think that it has helped. People schedule appointments because they have lots of questions. They don't know your hours. They don't know what the rules and regulations are. Obviously that's loosening up now, but people are booking more appointments than they ever have. I work almost exclusively by appointment these days. And beyond that, I think people are, especially now with the inventory shortages, people are understanding what's going on, and they're committing. They're not fighting about price as much because they understand that there's no vehicles out there, there's no incentives, they see it online, they see everything out there. And we're getting a lot of e-leads. We're getting more phone calls because people are calling to ask about, like, what's your inventory look like, what's your wait time. I mean, people are just calling now to say, well, how long's your wait time. That's their first question out of their mouth, right? They don't even ask you if you have anything in stock. So it's definitely interesting. But since COVID, I think that it has changed in a good way, because I think a lot of people realize how much they do miss the in-person customer service side of things. They got used to doing everything online, which, I mean, a lot of people are still doing more online than they ever have. But the customer service part of things, people were shut down for so long and locked out and not allowed to see people, that they just want to get out and talk to somebody, and they miss that customer experience where they've been buying everything online and getting groceries delivered to your house, and everything that personal touch has been missing for people. It's kind of put it back a little bit, but also forward in the online presence as well. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's absolutely interesting. Actually, I like to share that experience with you too this week that I had. So I started to feel really bad on Tuesday morning after I had a meeting, and and I didn't know what it was. So I start resting, and the whole day passed. And the next day I start feeling worse. And finally Thursday I wanted to go to a doctor, but I didn't feel like I could go to a doctor. But what I was doing was I was on my phone in my bed and I was Googling the symptoms, trying to understand, because I did two COVID tests, make sure that I didn't have COVID. Thanks
Right.
to my friend, he brought me the antigen test, so I did it at home twice. Came negative, and then I was googling the symptoms to see what kind of thing I may have, and I see an advertising there. It said, "Tell us telehealth. Don't Google symptoms. Just talk to a real doctor, covered by your OHIP." I'm like, really? I can do that? So I clicked on it, download the application. I download the application. Within 20 minutes, I was in front of a doctor on my phone. And doctor was in Vancouver. And he was like diagnosing me, asking me questions. And the guy said, "Yeah, don't worry about it. You're fine. You just have a stomach flu. Just get this one, rest, drink lots of fluids, you're fine." And I was blown away. And that digital prescription automatically transmitted to Walmart pharmacy, which is close to my home.
Yeah.
And I got that delivered and I'm good to go. Like, that's the age we're living in now. Like, I don't
It's
even need to go to a
crazy.
doctor, right?
And
And
also the comfort of your own home, right? You're sick, you don't feel well, you don't want to go out. You're sitting on your couch and talking to a doctor.
yeah, and
Yeah.
think about it, right? How convenient is that? Like, what if I went to a hospital? Because if I went to a hospital, it cost average what, $900 to $1,000 to the government, right? Each time you go to an ER. And I would probably wait what, 14, 15 hours to see a doctor because it's overwhelmed. There's COVID going on and stuff. They're short staffed, overworked, and I may potentially get COVID there while I was waiting too. I
Yeah.
don't know. So this kind of technological features make life easier and streamline it. So again, when we had the COVID, uh, smart dealerships adapted very quickly to the situation and started to work with with the customers, and providing information. And they realized that cars can be sold without somebody coming into your store,
Yeah.
right?
And
So that was
we're doing a lot of that. I mean, you're right. Cars can be sold without people coming in. I've done a little bit of video chatting with customers, but mostly over the phone if they can't come in or don't want to come in. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you had to be smart. You had to move forward. You had to put yourself online and be open and honest and upfront. That's the way that you're going to succeed in this world, right? You have to be online presence. You have to be available.
So can you talk about a little bit more about selling cars like that way, like
Mhm.
online, like how many cars you sell, like how the process goes? Can you give a little bit of information about that?
Oh, for sure. To be honest with you, we are, as you know, a very small town. Most people still prefer to come in at some point or another. We're a little behind the times here, you might say. But we do have a lot of people who want to do it online. Um, I haven't actually really encountered many people who don't want to, get on a phone call with you. So that tends to be what most people want. I've done a couple video chats here and there. But usually it's pretty simple. I mean, you can just talk to somebody on the phone and go over their wants and needs. You do exactly what you would do if they came in. You talk to them about, okay, what vehicle are you interested in, what model, what features are important to you, and then where do you want to go? What do you want to do? How much time are you willing to wait? Are you in the market now versus later? The same typical questions you would ask anybody. You're always going to offer a test drive because you have to. A lot of people don't care because they're like, it's a Honda. I know it'll drive great. Not concerned about that. Okay, that's your call. And then if they want to go through with it, then you just kind of talk them through the numbers. If they have questions, you can email them quotes, information, whatever they need, and then you would have them touch base with a finance manager to do the credit application, kind of finish everything off, and then they just come pick it up.
Well, I was having a conversation with a friend in the business, and he raised an interesting question. And the question was, "John, what do you think an online transaction is?" And I'm like somebody purchases the car and like and then pick it up or get it delivered. Like, but this is, do you think the real full online purchase does have to necessarily mean that everything has to start on the website and to complete it on the website and the customer gets that car without stepping foot to the dealership? And I said, actually, if you ask the question that way, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to evolve that way, because some people's understanding of online purchases, they may start the transaction online, but they may complete it physically in your store, right? They don't, it doesn't have to necessarily evolve completely digital without even like any kind of, physical interaction. It could
Yeah.
actually evolve that way too. Start as a digital, ended as a traditional way, or it can start traditional way, ended up in a digital way. Like, for example, somebody comes, meets you, picks the car, and you tell them, okay, your car will be ready in 2 months, right?
Mhm.
And then they say, can you deliver the car? Well, what are you going to
Yeah.
say? Of course you can, right? And then you may do that way too. So I think as automotive professionals, we need to define or look a little bit more flexible of what is really the meaning of online transaction, because online transaction doesn't have to necessarily be completely online, right? It could start online, finish like traditional way, or start traditional, finish, non-traditional way. So it's all about like how that evolves, right? I think. So everybody
Yeah.
thinks, like, I talked to some people and I asked them like, okay, how many cars you sold online? Yeah, we haven't sold anything. Yeah, but how many ELEs did you receive? Oh, we got like 100. How many of those you sold? Oh, we sold like 20 of them. Okay. And how many of those people like gave you deposit over the phone or something? Oh, all of them. So you sold the car online. Oh, but they come picked up physically. Well, that's fine. But you sold the car online, right? It's the same as like you order something on Walmart, right? Let's say you order a generator. You go pick it up from the store. Well, that's an online transaction. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be delivered to your home. So that's why I think right now I would guess at least 80 to 85% of transactions are completed online, I would say, in the car business, if you look at that way.
Yeah, I mean, even our targets for online purchases have gone up, right? I mean, it used to be, I think, 10 or 11% to try to close from an online purchase from an e-lead, we'll say. You want to have a closing ratio of 10 to 15% on an e-lead, and that has absolutely gone up for the last year. And I think a lot of dealers are closing at like, a direct response from an e-lead around 20 to 25%, maybe more. But when you've got a 50 to 60% closing ratio in your store, which and possibly higher, which is pretty standard these days, you definitely see a lot of that online, and most customers have been online at some point or another, whether it's before, during, or even after their purchase, where we've seen them go online and find out the value of their trade after they've agreed to buy a car, to say, oh yeah, okay, they were being straight with me, right? um, or they went online and filled out a credit app, but then everything else was done in store. I think as in the car industry, we're so tied to our processes, and those have been what have been pounded into our heads since the time you're hired. I know our dealership's always very forward thinking, which I love. The process has to be fluid, it has to be open, it has
Yeah.
to be something that we can look at and say, I can adapt that to whatever the customer's needs are. I mean, essentially, we are here for them, right? So when we're looking at, the process of, who was online versus when did they buy a car. I mean, we have the ability on our website for somebody to buy a car front to back online, never come into the dealership, pay for it, the whole thing. And not a single person has done it in the last 2 years, because I think it's such a big purchase. I mean, you're not ordering a pair of pants from Amazon. You're buying a car, right? So I think a lot of people need to have some reassurance of talking to a human being at some point throughout that. But you're absolutely right, it's never just um, front to back, beginning to end, the sales process as it always has been. It's very, very we're adapting to the customer's needs, and I think that takes a lot of work to kind of wrap your head around, because naturally we don't do that well. We want people to follow our process, right? But that's not the world we live in right now. That's not who we need to be right now. If you want to succeed and you want to sell cars, you want to do well, that's not going to work for you.
No, you yeah, you can't be more right about that, man. You can't be more right about that. Uh, you're right, because we taught in the business to follow the process. Well, the process is good. Your 10 step, 11 step, depending on the organization you're in. And you got to follow it. But again, at the end of the day, customer is the boss, and you have to be flexible to meet their needs. If you don't, they're going to go next door to whoever is going to meet their
Well,
needs, right?
exactly. And I also find that, being a or adapting to what their needs are, we can still do our process while doing that. There's so many video apps. I mean, we use QuickPage, but you can send somebody videos and brochures, and you can send them your own videos. I mean, I've got my YouTube channel with all my videos on it about adaptive cruise control and all the Honda sensing safety tech, and all of the features on a Honda vehicle, where if you were in store in person, I'd do a stellar walk around of the vehicle and just get you pumped up about it. Well, I can still do that. Even if you never set foot in the store, I can still send you videos and send you information, give you everything that I would give you in the store online from the comfort of your home. You still get that full-blown experience that you would get with me if you came in. But it's just different. That's all. It's learning how to, use your camera and use your phone and record videos and not be afraid of it, not being afraid of your own voice, which is a process, but you just get used to it, and then you can really give people what they want.
Yeah, absolutely right. And the good thing was this too about your dealership specifically. We're talking about Great Lakes Honda, and even before the pandemic, your store had the policies and procedures and the processes in place that I couldn't believe when I see it, like how forward thinking it was. You
Yeah.
guys had those videos there way before the pandemic, right? Like it was your
Yeah.
standardized process. And even when you go to your website, look for every used car. I remember seeing every used car had a custom video on it explaining the car. So sometimes you do it, sometimes another salesperson does it. I think that was a really good feature even before the pandemic times. I think that
Yeah.
that was really good stuff. The other thing was the driving school you guys have. That's a great idea from Francine. Like she has those young students getting trained how to drive a car, and they get a coupon if they
Yeah.
were to purchase a car from your dealership. That's a phenomenal idea, and like there's a lot of forward thinking ideas in your store, and sometimes you wouldn't expect that from a dealership from a smaller city, right? You would expect these kind of stuff in a metro area, right? Like you may expect that
Yeah.
from a Toronto dealership, Montreal dealership, but then a small city, they're embracing really good practices. I was very impressed, and every time I visited your store, having conversation with your management team was always a pleasure. And Benjamin, I think he's your mentor. He's a great guy. I enjoy
It
talking to
really
him all
is.
the time, and he's an amazing guy. In terms of your YouTube page, are you talking about Great Lakes Honda's YouTube page, or you have your own specific one that you put these videos up?
I've got my own. Obviously, Great Lakes Hondas, I'll share their videos as well. But I've it's kind of a I don't I'm not looking for, tons of followers on there. It's more of like a library to house all of my videos so that I can find them again. But yeah, I have my own YouTube channel that I just kind of put everything up on, and stuff that I can reuse over and over again. A video about a kick open power tailgate, or a video about the econ button, or that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, I have my own, but Great Lakes Honda, I use a lot of their videos as well.
So, which car is your the car you like the most in the Honda lineup right now?
Okay, I have been an Accord girl for my entire career, but the new Civic may have won me over. I think I've changed my heart.
Nice.
I love the new Civic Touring in the morning mist. It's an incredible vehicle. the Bose sound system, just the way it drives, the steering, handling. I don't know. It's amazing.
So your favorite car is the Canadian car of the year, right? Honda
Yeah,
Civic.
yeah, can't beat
That's that
it.
that's good. Kinda that the new Civic is kinda like a baby Accord if you really look at from an
Yeah,
angle, right? It's like a smaller
absolutely.
Accord.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and Honda just announced, I think it was what, Wednesday, that the investment they're doing with the government, it's pretty interesting stuff coming up, from
Oh
Honda
yeah,
too.
they're
The
gonna
hybrid
make
CR-V, right?
they're gonna make that plant much bigger. They're investing a ton of money, and it's gonna be great for for Ontario, for Canada, just to have that factory there. It's already a huge one, so yeah, really pumped about that news.
So I'll ask you my last question. What do you think about the electrification, and what do you think electrification will affect you as a professional in this business?
Oh, that's a tough one. Um, so I'm pumped about it. I really am. I think that it's going to be amazing when it happens, and of course we're on our way there. Started to see more customers asking about hybrids and electric vehicles, and all that stuff. I think infrastructure is going to be a big part of that. I know in our small community, there's still a lot of people who don't understand what electric vehicles are or what hybrids are even. They get really confused about it, and it's tough when you don't have a ton of them to show people, right? And then infrastructure. I mean, we're an 8-hour drive from Toronto, right? So that's a long trip, but I'm pumped about the future. I'm excited about it happening. How it's going to affect us, I think it'll just be different, and it'll be an adjustment, but I don't think it'll be a huge effect. I think there'll be a lot of changes in the dealership, service department, that kind of thing, and a lot of learning. And I think that the people who are going to succeed with it are the people who dive in head first and really wrap their heads around it and really get a good knowledge base about it, because it's the same as changing everything for COVID and going online and just being super forward thinking. You have to, we're going to be there soon, right? So I think that you have to dive in, you have to be super knowledgeable about it, and you have to, yeah, talking about. So I think that that's, where it's going to be. I'm super pumped to see where it goes, though. Super pumped.
That's great. Really good answer. So before I wrap it up, Megan, anything you want to add? How people can reach you, or can someone needs your mentorship or something? Are you okay? Like helping out people, answering questions, and what's the best form of communication with you?
Oh, yeah, people can always reach out to me. I love chatting with other people in the industry, even just, touching base. I've got a few people on Instagram that we tag each other and we send messages all the time at different Honda dealerships. It's really fun to kind of have those connections with people. So connect with me on social media, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, not as much, but I am on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on TikTok too, which is more of an editing platform. A little old for it, but it is useful for editing. But yeah, I'm Your Honda Meg basically everywhere. You can send me a message and reach out, and I would love to chat. Any questions you've got, I can help out. If I can help out, if you've got any suggestions for me, love that too. Always open to learning something new, or just having a good conversation. So absolutely.
That's amazing. I love the vibe. I love the energy. It's positivity. It's really good, Megan. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today, and thank you for being understanding. And
Yes, of course.
again, I do apologize. We couldn't do this on the time that we scheduled originally, but I wish you all the best. Hope this product shortage will go away and you go back to selling your 20 cars plus cars a month, and everything will work out the best for you. And again, I think I emailed you when you get promoted, but I couldn't do it in person. Congratulations on your promotion too,
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
all the best. Keep in touch and have a
Yes,
great
of
day.
course.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye bye.
Bye.